What's going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. This is the Love and Marriage Huntsville recap, season 6, episode 18, Melody versus Marsau. So it picks up right where the last one left off with the ladies at the baby reveal. Baby Ace is so cute, and I'm so glad to see him and Tiffany being healthy. Tisha came in a bit late, so she came in when the pastor was doing the scripture over the baby, praying over the baby. I believe she read Psalm 34. And right after that, child, they went in on Tisha. Okay, she was definitely on the menu. But I would say maybe not even her, but her husband. More so, the Scott brothers as a whole, in my opinion, they're largely problematic, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, so they were asking about Nell Fletcher, who is becoming a fan favorite. She's definitely becoming one of mine as well. She was asking what was going on with the $100, right? That situation. And so Stormy, she kind of leans in and she asked Tisha, she's like, "Do you want to talk about it? Do you want to?" And Tisha's like, "No, I mean, because at the end of the day," and Stormy was right. Some things she does I don't necessarily agree with, but I do agree with her saying to Tisha, at the business expo, you did, essentially check your husband and said that he was wrong for coming on the day of the event to ask her for $100. And, Tisha was like, yeah, she was backpedaling a lot. She essentially gets up and leaves when they're trying to give her, constructive criticism because Tiffany, after she fed her baby, she goes over there and she's like, well, I mean, I guess I can keep the front row warm. They're all these women are business women, right? And so for Tisha to not necessarily involve them or ask them for advice or even, want to hear their constructive feedback, again, it's problematic, right? Yes, she has an MBA, yes, she has, Black and things like that, but she allows Marsau to essentially just destroy their reputation in the community, and that's really harmful because she's 85%. I mean, like Nell says, everything in their business is 50-50. And she's like, there's no way that I would be 85% owner of a business that my husband is going to kick me out of. Her and Chris split everything down the middle. He's in real estate and she's an owner of a daycare. And Nell, was feeling some type of way about not being invited when, Marsau, when they were at dinner, he's like, oh, well, I just thought that, Nell was just your pretty wife. I didn't know that she did anything. Marsau is extremely insecure. If you ever met anyone like that who is like really envious and insecure, it's draining. And, the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to, remove those people from your life. But so, yeah, let's move on from from the ladies at the baby reveal, because that was a mess. Tisha is not going to receive any of the feedback, that they're trying to give her. It's trying to be helpful. She's like, well, if you guys can do it bigger and better, have one yourself and give out scholarships and blah, blah, blah. Like, she was just really, dismissive of anything that the women had to say. So, okay. Moving on to Keke and her husband, right? So we meet Keke's husband, and Keke said that she has been in and out of the hospital and she hasn't been feeling well, which is, Melody said in her confessional that she was concerned about Keke because she didn't make it to the baby reveal. And so her husband is basically saying that he wants Keke to not, not take the medicine methadone. And so my thoughts are kind of split, right? I don't know enough about methadone to make, I guess, like a scientific analysis about it. But what I will say is that could be contributing to her not feeling well, right? I feel like it's a substitute for stronger substances. And so Doctors will put addicts on that, especially if it's an opioid addiction, to try to wean them off of the opioid. But it's essentially synthetically the same thing, right? And so that might be contributing to her not feeling well. And Keke's basically saying, my husband, he doesn't want me addicted to anything. Right. That's the goal. That's the goal, I would think, of any, good doctor worth his salt. But, he's also, bringing up the fact that, her diet is an issue as well. He's like, you can't go to a Chinese restaurant and order half the menu and then eat that stuff at like 10 p.m. He's like, that's not good for your health, especially, I think Kiki's like in her 40s. So, especially being the age that she is, like, we can't eat the same way when we're older as we did when we were teenagers. Our metabolism doesn't work, the same. Our bodies change. And so, introducing, more healthy food like fruits and vegetables, that's just, especially if you're not feeling well. To me, that's common sense. I didn't see anything wrong with what he was saying to her, but she was upset at his advice. I felt like it was very, sensical. It made sense to me. But yeah, so Nell and Melody, they meet at Nell's, daycare center. And again, Nell was just basically telling Melody about what Marsau was saying about her, that, he doesn't respect her as a businesswoman because she has an e-commerce store selling t-shirts. Sidebar, e-commerce, a lot of people who are innovators. I remember, the Ford company, there was people, telling Ford that, the automobile is going to be a phase, right? The horse is here to stay. Or they were trying to discourage a lot of people that are interested in the internet, in commerce, e-commerce, because of the brick and mortar stores. I don't know if you guys remember, years ago, they were blaming millennials for a lot of the retail clothing stores being shut down, right? A lot of things are moving toward the internet. So if you refuse to adapt to that business model, then essentially you're going to get phased out as well. So to me, it just seems like Marsau is really threatened, and Nell was, conveying that what he was saying, when they were at dinner, to Melody. So then Melody essentially, invites Marsau to an outside cafe to confront him about about what he said. Not wanting to pay her to speak because she has a t-shirt line. If you guys remember, he actually wanted her to speak, but she said that, she refused, or, politely declined. One, because they're not good business people. That's what Melody was saying, that, they're being sued, I think $5 million lawsuit for fraud. But also, during this cafe confrontation, baby, Mel, she's trying to, keep good energy. She was thinking back to what would the leader of the tea party that she had. She's like, what would she do? Marsau is, he is a misogynist. I mean, flat out, he just is. Like, that's what Nell and Nell Fletcher and Melody were talking about, at her daycare center, that he has an issue with successful Black women. He's very threatened by them. And, that's what he said at dinner, like, oh, I didn't think that you did anything. I thought you were just Chris Fletcher's pretty wife, No, she's a businesswoman. She has been for the past 30 years, successful at that. So Melody was asking him, she's like, yeah, I sell t-shirts. She's like, I do that's just one aspect of my business, right? Like, she also has a skincare line. 7th Avenue is very successful. But she's like, you guys sell t-shirts as well as Black. So why would you try to downgrade or disparage my business when you're trying to get into e-commerce as well, if you don't respect it. And he's like, oh, well, I'm just doing it for the money. It's a money grab. I don't respect it, but it's a money grab. When I tell you, when Mel started laughing at him, so did I, because why would you invest your time, energy, money, etc. into anything that you don't value or respect? That doesn't make sense. So Marsau is just him, Maurice, Kimmy, we met his other brother who, I guess there's 4 Scott brothers, because there's Mark, Maurice, Marsau, and then Micah, I believe his name who was trying to get a property, built in a time frame that, Kimmy and Maurice have inspected, and it doesn't look like he's going to make that time frame. I don't know how these men were raised, but what I will say is that all 4 of them seem to be misogynistic and problematic, right? I don't know Micah very well. We only saw him for that little bit of time, but him, not taking serious the time frame that, Kimmy and Maurice wanted for their business to be up to par, or their building. He just, laughs it off like, oh no, it's okay, I got it. These men don't take anything seriously. I'm like, who raised y'all? Like, what is going on? We have Marsau, who is always talking down on women. Maurice, who's, talking about Kimmy needs to suffer through it on his conversation with Carlos King. Carlos, where are you finding these men? So anyway, the episode was good. It provided us with a lot of tea. But y'all drop down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. I want to hear from you. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I will talk with you later. Take care, aces. Bye.